Hey everybody, it's Vestic, and in this video, we'll be installing the Tonberry enhanced mods for the Steam version of Final Fantasy VIII. These mods are going to be specifically for Final Fantasy VIII on Steam. Steam uses DirectX 9 to run Final Fantasy VIII, and the original PC version did not. If you are using the original PC version of Final Fantasy VIII, you can find mods for the PC version specifically on the QHIMM forums as well. If you choose to install all the mods in this video, it will add about 5.5 gigabytes to your game files, so make sure you have enough space before you start installing all the mods. Go ahead and click on the link in the description to get to the QHIMM forums, and it will bring you to the Tonberry mods master list. The first couple of files that we need to download we can find here in the Tonberry enhanced link. So go ahead and click into that page. My version is version 2.04. And scroll down, we're going to want to download the latest version. This will take us to a Google Drive where you can download the Tonberry Enhanced tool. And after that's done, go back to the Tonberry Enhanced page. We're also going to download the Visual C++ 2010 redistributable. The reason we're downloading this is so that we can make sure that the Tonberry tool does work, and also that your computer has at least this version on it. If your computer has a version that is higher than 2010, then this will work just fine. So don't worry if your install later on says that a newer version of VC++ is already installed. Once that's done, head back to the mod master list. Scroll down to the current completed mods section, and before we get started downloading things, there are two things I want to talk about really quick. The controller button is Seed Reborn dependent. So if you don't want to install the Seed Reborn mod, then you won't be able to install the controller buttons either. And the Project Eden and the Project Angel Wing mods are both field background upscaling mods. Project Angel Wing has taken a bunch of the good things from Project Eden and added it to its project. So we will be using Project Angel Wing in this video. Let's click into Seed Reborn. This is the menu, UI icon, and font mod. As you can see, the backgrounds are upscaled here and the font is different. So scroll down and find your language version here. Mine will be English, and currently it's 4.1. So click the link, it'll take you to the Mega website where you can download the files right here. And once that's done, head back to the master mod list. Next is the controller buttons mod. Go ahead and click into that link. And this will replace button 1, button 2, button 3 with the proper PlayStation and Xbox 360 buttons. This is a lifesaver in some of the button pressing mini games in Final Fantasy VIII. So here's the link. Go ahead and click it for version 2.0. This will again take you to a Mega site where you can download this mod. This mod does have a tiny bug in it still. As you can see in this screenshot, there is button 1, which is assigned to A, and button 0, which is assigned to R3. Since the B10 was its own button, this will pull button 1 and button 0 for the image. This won't affect your gameplay, it will just show up in your configuration. Once that's done and downloaded, head back to the master mod list. Up next is Horizon Pack. Go ahead and click into there. This is the Overworld Textures mod. As you can see, there are some very big differences with this mod installed. Now, we are going for the original 2013 version, which is the remastered version 1.0 here. So click this link. The other one is for the Final Fantasy VIII remastered version of the game. Go to the Mega page, download your files, and then head back to the master mod list. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be skipping Project Eden. We'll go straight into Project Angel Wing. This is the upscaled field backgrounds. Now what those are some of the backgrounds like this inside the game, where we have Balaam, the radio tower, Edia's throne room. They look gorgeous, and it's really what makes the mods for Tonberry pop. So come up here to the downloads links, pick your language of your game. Again, mine is English. It will take you to a Google Drive. Go ahead and download those files. And once they're downloaded, head back to the master mod list page. Next is the Battlefield pack. Go ahead and click into there. This is all of the backgrounds for the battle scenes that we have. So go ahead and download Battlefield pack version 3.1. This will take you to Mega. Go ahead and download here. As you can see, I've already downloaded this file. Yours will have download instead of save. Once that's done, head back to the master mod list. I'll go ahead and scroll down so we can see the rest of the mods we have. And the next one we're going to download is Tripod. This is the triple triad mod that updates the cards. So this one's a little interesting. It wants us to download Tripod version 1.2 here. So when you click the link, it will take you to Mega, but it will say you're getting version 1.1. This is okay. Go ahead and download the version here. And once that's done, head back to the Tripod page. And the 1.2 and 1.3 upgrades are what we call hash maps, and we'll get into those when we install the mods later. Go ahead and click this link here to download the Tripod version 1.3 master hash map. This will take you to a Google Drive. Go ahead and download the file. Once that's downloaded, head back to the master mod list. Next is the Rebirth Flame mod. This is the character texture packs. We have a couple of decisions to make here. Version 1.3 has 3 different types of character texture replacements that you can choose. For example, Mago, those look like Squall and Quistis here. Divina looks like the Squall and Quistis here, and the upscaled are just upscaled versions of the original Final Fantasy VIII character models here. I went ahead and downloaded Mago. You can download Divina or upscaled. The installation process for both of them is the same. So go ahead and click your link. It will take you to Google Drive. Download your files here. And once those are done, you know the drill, head back to the master mod list page. Let's click into Project Hellfire next. This is the GF upscaling. So Ifrit, Shiva, Thunderbird. We're going to look for the download link for version 1.2. This will take us to Mega again, where we will download those files. And once those are done, head back to the master mod list. Next is the Apocalypse mod for boss textures. So jump in here, find the latest version. Mine is 1.2. Click the Google Drive link, download the files, and once those are ready, head back to the master mod list page. The last of the Tonberry mods is Lunar Cry. This updates all enemy textures, so this will be another big one to download. Go to Lunar Cry version 1.5 link here. It will take you to Mega. Go ahead and download those files. And once they are done, head back to the master mod list page. These last 2 mods, the UV Fix Patcher and the GeDoSaTo config, add very nice quality of life elements to the game. So if you want to install these optional but highly recommended mods, let's jump into the UV Fix Patcher first. This will take us to a post where we have the option of downloading the English version of the UV Fix Patcher. If you only have the English version, go ahead and download that. But if you don't, you can scroll down until you find another link. This one is also by Makindis here, and it is the Bad UV Patcher for all languages. So you can go ahead and click that link, go to the Mega site, and download your file here. Once that's done, head back to the master mod list again. And the final mod on this page is the GeDoSaTo mod. So go ahead and click into there. And this does some pretty fancy things, as well as allows you to use the Steam overlay. You may have seen in a lot of the other mods that they tell you specifically to disable the Steam overlay because it breaks the game. GeDoSaTo fixes that. So we can go down here. Makindis has a config file for the GeDoSaTo tool. So go ahead, click that link, get the Makindis file for that. Download in the Mega page. Once that's done, head back. Now we're going to have to get the GeDoSaTo tool to work And I'm on Windows 10, so I have to do it through GitHub. Click on the GitHub link. It'll bring you to this page. And what you want to do is click on this code drop down here and download zip. And this will download the entire project to your downloads folder. And that's all we need to worry about now. And there is one optional mod that I'm going to finish up with. And that mod is the Roses and Wine mod. All these other mods have been graphical mods. The Roses and Wine mod is an audio mod. And this will replace the MIDI tracks of the game soundtrack with the original PlayStation higher quality orchestral versions. So there is a link in the description that will take you to this page for Final Fantasy VII, the reunion. You're going to want to click on the Roses and Wine link here, not light, because that doesn't include the music. You want the Roses and Wine here. And it will give you a torrent file. There are other videos, Google, whatever, that can show you how to torrent files. Download the torrent, get that going, and get your Roses and Wine W07 mod. Now that we have all the mods downloaded, it's time to set things up to install them. So in Steam, click the little cog, go to manage, and then browse your local files. And as you can see here, I have all of my mods in my download folder in their own little folder. And on this side, we have the Steam files for Final Fantasy VIII. And I've already unpacked all of my RAR or 7-zip files that we got through the downloads. So use your favorite archive, dearchive tool, WinRAR, WinZip, 7-zip to either unpack the files, or as we go through and install them, you can just double click into them and drag and drop files over to the Final Fantasy VIII directory. I'll go ahead and open my mods folder here, and I've numbered everything in the order that I'm going to install them in this video. The first one is the Visual C++ 2010 file. Go ahead and open and run that. And if your computer's like mine, there will be a newer version installed. That's perfectly fine. We just want to verify that you have at least this version on your computer. So go back to your downloads and we'll head over to the next one. So in order to install Tonberry Enhanced, you want to open that folder and you'll see you have a textures folder and a Tonberries folder, and then these DLL files. We want to copy all of these over to the Final Fantasy VIII game files here. Drag and drop, copy paste, whatever you want to do. And so we have the textures, the Tonberry folder, the D3, D9 files, and then this zlib file down here. That's all we need to do for that one. Next is installing the Seed Reborn mod. Go ahead and open those files, and you want to copy paste or drag and drop these folders to the main Final Fantasy VIII directory. So I'll go ahead and do that now. Files are copying over, and you can see we have the textures _ alternates folder that's new, and everything in the textures or the Tonberry folders were added to the existing files in there. Next is the controller buttons. If you didn't install Seed Reborn, this won't work for you, so you don't need to install this either. But since I'm going to go in, and you can see you have a bunch of options here. You can read the forums to see what the differences are, but what's worked best for me is the Final Fantasy VIII buttons main. I'm using an Xbox controller, so I will go in and see what folders are in Xbox. And if you see any folders like this with just 2 letters, those you can find in the Final Fantasy VIII textures folder that we have for Tonberry. And all of these folders and textures are going to be 2-letter folders. So we'll want to copy and paste SY over here and replace the file in the destination. So now we have the controller buttons mapped out in this folder here, and they will show up in the game now. So we're going to head back to all the other mods and jump on the next one. Jump into the Horizon Pack Remaster files, and you can see a bunch of fun stuff here. So Ragnarok colors, textures, and Tonberry. Let's get back to the textures and Tonberry files here. So we want to go ahead and highlight textures and Tonberry, and then move those into the Final Fantasy main directory and get those files in there. Now, Ragnarok colors is going to be an alternate texture. And you can see there are some different color palettes, and these are all the Ragnarok ones. And what I like to do with these is just copy it into the textures alternates here and save them for later. So we can head back to our list of mods and move on to the next mod. Let's open up Project Angel Wing. And you'll see hash map, some Excel files, and textures. We know what to do with textures, so we'll go ahead and copy that over to the Final Fantasy VIII directory, and this will take a bit. There's a lot of textures to copy over. But while we are waiting on that to finish, we can open up Tonberry, where we will find the hash map folder, and then these two, the collisions and hash2 map files here. We're going to want to replace the hash maps and then add the hash map into the Tonberry folder. So copy and paste. And it wants to know if we want to replace the files in this destination for the hash map and the collision stuff, or just these two, the collisions and hash2 map. We do. So go ahead and replace those folders, and we can head back to our mod list here, as well as back to the main directory for Final Fantasy VIII. The next mod is Battlefield Pack. Go ahead and open that up, and we will see textures and Tonberry. So it's another easy one. We just have to add to the main Final Fantasy VIII directory in Steam. So go ahead and copy and paste those in there. And while we're waiting for those to finish, we can head back and get ready to install the next mod. Tripod for Triple Triad is next. Go ahead and we'll see texture contents. So go ahead and open it up, and we have two texture folders here. So copy those, head over to the Final Fantasy VIII directory, and the textures are right here. And go ahead and paste them in the texture folder. I need to not be highlighted on this. There we go. So copy, paste. We have the CA and the MC folders in the texture folder now. Now remember, this was the weird one that we downloaded, version 1.2 for Tripod, which was actually version 1.1. And in order to get 1.3, we had to download the hash map for Tripod. So let's open that up, take the tripod master underscore HM and add that to the hash maps under the Tonberry folder. And then get ready to keep on installing these mods. Rebirth Flame is next, and this one had 3 options to download. I did the Mago option. So open up that folder, and you can see we have a hash map and a texture file. So let's move the texture file over to the textures folder without highlighting things. Perfect. And wait for that to finish. And then head back to the Tonberry folder, where we can put the Rebirth Flame hash map into the hash map folder. Let's see what Project Hellfire files we have. Open up that. We have a hash map and a texture folder. So copy the texture folder into textures, just like before. And if it asks to replace anything, it didn't, we would have. And get that hash map into the hash map folder. Copy, paste it over there. And get ready for Apocalypse. Open up that folder. We have another texture file and a hash map. So this will be exactly the same as the last 2 mods. Paste that in there, and then get the Apocalypse hash map into the Tonberry hash map folder. And then back it up to get ready for the next mod. And Lunar Cry was the last Tonberry mod. Let's go ahead. We have textures and Tonberry. So we just get to copy and paste these into the Final Fantasy VIII main directory. And that is all of the Tonberry mods installed into your Final Fantasy VIII game. Next, for the bad UV patcher mod, we're going to have to do a couple of things. This will directly modify our launcher or .exe file for Final Fantasy VIII. So we're going to want to make a copy, and then we can name it backup, original. We just need to know that this file here, original, is not modified, so that if something does happen to the original file that we're going to modify, we can just rename this and we wouldn't have broken anything. Next, open up the UV patch multi-laying, or whichever one you did download, and choose the folder with your language in it. English doesn't have EN, but that's the English version here. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut and move the launcher file into the same folder as the FF8 Steam _UV patcher file. Next, we're going to want to run the UV patcher as administrator. And what this will do is it will modify the launcher file or the .exe file. And we're going to want to open the hex edit text document as well, just to double check that everything went well. What we're looking for here is that changed is 12, replaced is 0, and there were no errors. So everything went well. Next, we want to move the Final Fantasy _ whatever your language is back to the Final Fantasy VIII Steam directory files. So copy paste that back in, and voila, we have a modified launcher. Next, we're going to pick up the HD FMVs. Go ahead and click the link down in the description for the HD FMVs, and it will bring you to a Google Drive page. Download the FMV files here, and once that's done, head back to your download folders and open up your FMVs, and you'll see that there's a movies folder. This folder can be found in the Final Fantasy VIII files under data. And my computer is a potato, so I am going to make a copy of the movies so that when I do copy the HD movies over, if things don't work and the movies lag out, it's easy for me to delete the new movies, the HD FMVs, and rename my movies folder to get the original ones back. And once that's done, we will move on to the next mod. The next mod is the GeDoSaTo tool. This is the one that we got from GitHub. So first, before opening the files here, I want to open up a new file explorer and then go into my C drive, and we're going to create a folder for GeDoSaTo. So GeDoSaTo in the C drive, and open up that folder. It'll be empty. We want to go back to the GeDoSaTo GitHub files, open that up, and we're going to want to copy the pack folder over to the new the folder you created in the C drive. So now C drive GeDoSaTo has the pack folder, and in here we have the GeDoSaTo tool and the config files for this tool. The next step is to get the Macindis GeDoSaTo config file for standalone. I didn't install ReShade in this tutorial, so standalone. And we want to find your language for your game. Again, English for me. And we have this config folder here that only has the FF8 English and FF8 launcher, or whatever your language is, plus the whitelist user file. What we're going to want to do is go back to where it's just the config file, copy and paste it into the pack folder in your C drive GeDoSaTo folder. And once that is copied and pasted, we can find the Final Fantasy VIII _language and the Final Fantasy VIII launcher. These have been added to GeDoSaTo, so now it will work with them. And the last mod is the Roses and Wine mod. We can go ahead and minimize the GeDoSaTo for now. We're going to be doing Roses and Wine in the Steam directory for Final Fantasy VIII. So find your Roses and Wine files, open them up, and what we're going to do is run the RAW_W07 as administrator. It's going to take a second before it pops up. And while we're waiting, you want to copy your file directory, your file path for your Steam Final Fantasy VIII directory. Then give the Roses and Wine tool permission to open. You'll hear some fun little music, and it will tell you exactly what it's going to do. It's going to install Roses and Wine on our computer. So next, I accept the agreement, and you're going to want to paste the file path of your Steam Apps Common Final Fantasy VIII files. Go ahead after you've done that and hit next. Now here you get to choose what to install. So the original soundtrack only will be the original PlayStation version of the Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack. DLPB is the main modder for this, and he has his recommendations as a drop down as well, or you can go ahead and just install everything. I'm going to go ahead and use DLPB's selection, hit next, install, and as we're watching this work, we have a new Roses and Wine folder here that gets added, and there you go, Roses and Wine has now been installed. We're done installing mods, so we can go ahead and minimize these. Now, if you're using the GeDoSaTo, we want to make sure that that is open before we run the game to make sure that it's working. So go to your C drive, GeDoSaTo folder, pack, and then run the GeDoSaTo tool as administrator. And that will pop up here. And we want to make sure that it did find the Makinda's configuration settings. So click Edit Settings. It'll bring up this window here. And down here we have a little profile drop down. So click on that, and then you want to scroll through it until we find FF8_ your language and FF8_ launcher. Those appear, so we are good to go. Close out of this window here, keep GeDoSaTo running, and then run Final Fantasy VIII on Steam. Now, after we click play, we'll get a couple of pop-ups, or one pop-up, and then we'll get a launcher window. So click through to this one, and when the launcher window pops up, we want to make sure we have the correct settings so that the mods don't break the game. So click on Settings. If you did install GeDoSaTo, then the resolution is going to have a few extra options here. And we're going to want to choose the resolution that is twice the size of your display. So mine right now is 1920 by 1080. Twice that size will be 3840 by 2160. So I'll go ahead and set my resolution to that. You want it to be full screen. I turn linear filtering off because some of the mods suggest that we don't want that to be ruining the graphics. My aspect ratio is fine, and everything else is fine. So okay, and play. As the game launches, the first thing we want to make sure happens is that text in the top left corner of the screen appears. That means GeDoSaTo is working. The quickest way to see if Seed Reborn is installed and working is to come here to the title page, and if you have the updated, nice and shiny background here with the gunblade icon, then it has been installed correctly. Enjoy this montage of what you can expect to see in your modded version of Final Fantasy VIII compared to the original version. And one last thing before I go, you remember the alternate textures folder? Let's go over that really quick. So these are all going to be copied and pasted into the textures folders, at least the ones that you want. So in the alternate textures folder, we're going to go over the Ragnarok colors, and the rest of them are very similar. They will go into different folders in the texture files here, but the process is the same. So open up Ragnarok colors. You can see there's a whole bunch of different color schemes for the Ragnarok ship. And we have the instructions here. Rename whichever one you want to HP_TextPG_45. I'm going to do the turquoise one, so I'll go ahead and rename this to what it tells me to. And then we need to put it in the HP_TEXPG. So that'll be under HP right here, and then _TextPG. And scrolling down here, we can see that that is the red Ragnarok color scheme. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the file I renamed over and replace the file. And now, when I get the Ragnarok, it's going to be this turquoise color. And all the other alternate textures are going to act the same way. You're either going to have to rename a file and replace one in one of the texture folders, or you can just drag and drop to replace it. It is easy peasy, and you can customize your game to look really, really cool. And that's it for this video. You know the drill. If you have a question or a comment, leave it below, and I will get around to helping you as soon as I can. Take care, everybody, and I will see you in the next video.